Thanks for staying with us. NC Continental Prime continues as South Africa's Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, has backtracked on his decision to grant Eskom a partial exemption from disclosing its expenses in its financial statements for 3 years. The National Treasury had initially approved the proposal in April, but withdrew its decision last week after receiving backlash from the public, including civil society organizations. The exemption would have allowed Eskom not to disclose irregular, unproductive and wasteful expenditure, as well as material losses from criminal conduct in its annual financial statements. Significant allegations of corruption at Eskom were revealed during the country's State Capture Commission, leading civil society organizations to raise concerns. Godongwana says the company needs to do more to reduce fraud and corruption before the exemption can be considered. And now joining us to discuss this further is the CEO for Organization on Doing Tax Abuse, Wayne Duvnage. Thank you so much for joining us on NC Continental Prime.
Good day, nice to be with you.
Thank you. Now, from Organization on Doing Tax perspective, what was your main concern with the exemption proposal?
Well, exactly the conclusion that he eventually came to, and that is this is a state-owned entity. This is not a competitive environment where we have a choice of which electricity supplier to use. And it's very important, as is contained in our Public Finance Management Act, that state-owned entities like Eskom do disclose expenditure related to fruitless and wasteful or irregular expenditure. And if that's not the case, then how are we as the public supposed to ensure that there's good financial hygiene, good management of our finances? So that was the objections that came from many sectors within society. And, we're pleased that the minister heeded the call. It was also a concern raised by the Auditor General of South Africa. So it's good that he has backtracked. I think we need to give recognition. It's not often that ministers make decisions and then go back on those decisions which are in the best interest of the country.
Eskom has been in the forerunner or the forefront for a lot of time in South Africa. What are your expectations from the minister as he has backtracked the exemption proposal by Eskom?
Well, what we're expecting now is that if they have not been granted this exemption, and the reasons they gave are very weak, they're going to have to get their house in order. They're going to have to get their reporting in order, their systems in order to be able to gather this information more accurately so that the Auditor General can see whether they're reporting properly. And I think this is high time because, to have the type of wasteful expenditure and irregular expenditure that has been taking place at the state-owned entity for a long time, and it's been subjected to so much corruption and maladministration. It's good now to see that the screws are being tightened and the systems are now going to have to be put in place, and proper oversight and good financial management. That's what we're hoping will come from this decision.
Wayne, one of the reasons Treasury granted the request in April was to attract investors. Are there any concerns now that Eskom has been denied the exemptions that investors will shy away?
No, I think investors were shying away long before that decision was raised. And I think, we spoke to a number of investors and they said that Eskom's decision or Treasury's initial decision to grant those exemptions was meaningless because they are very aware that when exemptions like that are given, that it's actually a signal for them to run further, not come towards Eskom with funds. So they weren't fooled by that. And I think they've got to get their house in order if they're going to want to attract investment. I'm not sure who would be investing in Eskom right now in its current state. So I don't think it's going to have a detrimental effect from that point of view at all.
All right, thank you so much, Wayne Duvnage, for joining us on NC Continental Prime. We'll definitely be following up with this story. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.